if you go up to the top, there's going to be a little square boxes, and there's a speaker view. If you click on speaker view, you'll have a big picture of the person who's speaking. So you'll get to see you'll have the best view of the presentation. But thank you for joining us today. Really want to have this be interactive and tailored to your interests and your questions. And as Mary said, Rich and I have been doing this a long time. We both work for Numotion, and which is a wheelchair company. And we just really are here to help support. And today we're going to go through different options for mobility, and Rich is going to kind of step through those options. And so really, if you have questions along the way, please feel free to ask them. And every question is welcome. I'm sure if you have it, somebody else does as well. We're going to just start out with a PowerPoint that's going to just show the equipment, but really want to do some live demonstration so you can see the equipment here in the room. But I'll start with the PowerPoint. Anybody have any questions before we start? Okay. All right, so we'll okay, so you should see, yeah, all right, there we go. All right, so we'll just step right in. So Rich, could you take us through this slide?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, everything that we deal with is for mobility assistive equipment. When you start having some difficulty either walking quickly, safely, or it's just a lot of effort to move around your home or community. So obviously you've seen the canes in the DME shops, Walgreens, things of that nature. That helps with balance. If you're just catching a toe or something on the one side, if both legs start getting weaker, you might want to consider with your doctor the front-wheeled walker. Front-wheeled walkers are pretty stable. They give you the support and they go in a straight-ahead fashion, so they're a lot more stable than the one you see below there, which is the four-wheeled walker. Four-wheeled walker, some folks already might have one. They have brakes where you can apply pressure to slow it down, but it also turns more freely. So it gives you more flexibility in movement, but because it can turn easily, sometimes it's not quite as stable as a front-wheeled walker might be. So some folks will end up actually having one or all three of those mobility assistive equipments through time. And it's good to have maybe one or two of them, one in the car, one at home, things of that nature for your different activities that you need them for. Four-wheeled walker obviously has a seat, so when you get tired, you can sit down and rest. Transport wheelchairs are very handy. That's one in the top right corner, where they'll fold very easily. And then the back cane, the push handles themselves also fold down. So they can be as lightweight as 20 pounds. So as you can see, because they have four small wheels, they are dependent for mobility. So if you have a caregiver, a loved one, family member who wants to take you someplace and the distance is just so great that you are concerned about being fatigued, this is a good item to just have so that you can have it in the back of your car, so that you can do the excursions you want to do without worrying about if I can make it all the way down to the end of the road and back or not. Insurance technically doesn't pay for the transport chair. You can get them on Amazon or Walgreens, Walmart, anywhere from $100 up to $200, depending on what you want to use.
And then a loan program.
The what?
ALSU loan program.
Yeah, that will.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. On the transport chair, the one in the picture doesn't have it, but one small thing you might keep in mind is if you do have a caregiver who's helping you with it and they're pushing the chair, I don't know if you can see me or not at the same time.
Take off the share real quick here so you can see that.
Because I'll get into the other standard manual chair too. If they're pushing you on level ground, it's easy, but if you start going downhill, then they've got to hold you back as you're going down a slope. So the transport chairs, you can look for them online with Amazon. I like the ones that have the same brakes that the walkers have. So it's a dynamic braking system. It's kind of like your 10-speed bikes were. They can slow the chair down without having to use all their strength to hold you back. So if you invest in a transport chair, it's nice to have the one that has the brakes. And then they can lock it by pushing it down like your walkers so that the chair is stable when you're getting in and out of it. The one that's in front of me is then when you get into a traditional wheelchair where you've got the large rear wheels. And that is for self-propulsion. And then they have the wheel locks that lock here on it. Technically, insurance pays for these. But sometimes it's better to use the loaner closet that Michele was talking about from either ALS United or there's a Dave's Locker, I think, in the community where you can just borrow one of these types of chairs if you need one instead of trying to go through the health insurance for something that might be a temporary type of a situation. And there, I won't bore you too much, but there are 5 different categories of manual wheelchairs. This happens to be the top of the category. And it gives you features such as a removable rear wheel. So you can make it lighter weight if a caregiver is trying to load it and unload it into the vehicle. The transport chair and these other chairs just, I usually have a lifting strap and it just folds up. So that's kind of the cane through the manual chair. Now there's one unique manual chair. It doesn't apply for a lot of folks, but sometimes it is nice, it's a manual tilt-in space. Once again, it's a dependent mobility device. But if somebody's having difficulty sitting up straight or your head and neck position is compromised.
What is a dependent mobility? Can you just share that, Rich?
Dependent is when you're not pushing it yourself.
Okay.
So this, if you attended one of the long clinics at one of either UC Health or National Jewish, sometimes it's nice to be able to have somebody tilt you back and have head and neck support and be able to take periods of rest. This would be if somebody was not interested in either pushing a chair themselves or driving a power wheelchair, but wanted to be able to get up, out, and around in more of a dependent situation. So it's just a unique kind of a niche or a niche, depending on how you want to say that, product.
I'll go back to the PowerPoint for a second. Let's see what else we got on that one. Okay, looks like we covered everything, Rich, except for the 4-wheel walker, if you want to speak for that.
Oh, I think we mentioned it.
Did you?
It's just it's more maneuverable. The 4-wheel walker has brakes, and then you can lock it, and then you can sit on the seat. And then, pardon me, ALS United sometimes has those available in their loaner closet, which we handle. They have transport chairs from time to time, front wheel walkers, manual chairs. So you can always check with Mary or Lauren about availability of something that you could borrow while you're having these mobility issues.
Okay.
So then the next,
all right, next slide
would be power mobility. They all might have seen people in scooters. Scooters are kind of they've become more of a self-pay item over time. Insurances technically would buy one of them, but you have to be able to use your full arms to operate that scooter. You can see it's got a tiller drive control, so you're actually using your arms, and they can't see me. There are some private pay resources for those, like Spin Life. There's 1-800 wheelchairs that you could purchase one of those. They disassemble, so a scooter can come apart with a caregiver assistance and fit into a vehicle. Insurance doesn't really cover those. They do cover standard power wheelchairs, but the standard wheelchair, and I'll show you once we get to the next section, it is what it is. It doesn't adapt. It doesn't change. So in any of your standard power wheelchairs, whatever you purchase, the seating stays the same. There's no adaptation to it in the future. You could include in the standard power chair category the folding power chairs. Those are also not covered by insurance, the folding power chairs, but they are what they are. They're easy to load and put in your car, but they don't have any adaptation in the future. Your complex power chair is usually when your doctor helps direct what kind of equipment might be in your best interest, along with a physical therapist eval. And that complex power chair, your insurance will cover, and it allows us a lot of adaptation to your changing needs. So we go into that on the next slide with the next presentation. That's fine. That's good.
You want to cover that right now?
Yeah, we'll do that one right now.
Okay, sure.
So those are the powered seat functions. There's power tilt, recline, seat elevator. So you can really change your body position throughout the day for comfort and endurance and pressure relief.
You want to do the live demo?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Mary, if you want to spotlight Rich again, I think you did that last time. All right, I guess we're already spotlighted.
All right, so this is the standard, one of the standard power wheelchairs. We don't have a folding power chair right now. This might be a good chair to have provided as a loaner, either through ALS United or perhaps Dave's Locker, so to speak. So it can get you around and go places just with the joystick control. But this seating system stays the same. It doesn't get upgraded. And you can see the pivot point here is right here in the middle of the chair. We'll get this one here. This is your complex power wheelchair.
And why do they have that in the middle of the chair, Rich? That big wheel?
So the center wheel drive makes it the most maneuverable. It turns in its own space. So if I just pull the joystick to the left, it pivots. So it makes 90-degree turns in a home. And you can oftentimes turn around in a kitchen and do just a lot more maneuverable than a rear wheel drive or a front wheel drive chair. So your chair comes with power tilt back for a weight shift. And then the backrest can recline. Your legs can elevate. It's all through a switch. And then if you bring it back down, you can run them usually simultaneously if your fingers are coordinated at this moment. Oh, it's going up. And until about 2 years ago, Medicare decided to pay for this feature, which is one of the best ones you can get for activities of daily living, reaching a counter, reaching a sink. It raises the chair up 12 inches. So prior to 2 years ago, Medicare and private insurance didn't pay for this feature. It was a self-pay. But good news now is they pay for that seat elevator and you can still drive.
And how did that help you?
So like I said, you can reach a sink.
Oh, I said that.
Covered. One of the other things too is if you're having neck weakness and you are using a wheelchair at some point, looking up at everybody all day long can put quite a strain on your neck and your breathing and swallowing. So by being able to elevate, you can get a lot closer to eye level. So you're looking at people in the eye while you're still in the wheelchair. So socially more interactive, less strain on your neck. And if you're at a concert, you can see over somebody in front of you. Should your needs change and you can't operate these switches, these chairs also can be operated through the joystick. All these controls can be moved left or right at no additional charge. You just call us up and we swap them out. And you can operate all of the seat functions through the joystick or other drive control. What we don't have here today is something that's called specialty drive controls. So once again, if you go back to that complex rehab wheelchairs where you want your health insurance to really start paying for the equipment, because you can do all these features as your needs change, including if you're unable to drive with your hand control, we can add adaptive controls to the headrest and you can drive with head movement. We can put adaptive controls for your legs. You can drive with knee movement. You can also drive through a computer screen with, like you do with a communication device with iDrive. So you can actually continue to operate the chair and all the powered seating, even if you can't operate it with your hand at some point. And then I think Michelle has another slide on costs or insurance.
Yeah, we sure do. Sharing that. And so with all of this equipment, really the goal is to really just help you participate in the things that you want to in your life, whether that's going to church or work or anything that you want to continue being involved in. This can help you get there and be safe and comfortable. And it really, as Rich has shown, it really adapts with your needs. And we, as our role is to make sure that we're helping choose something that you can, adapt with you. But do y'all have any questions at this point on the equipment while we're talking about what's available?
I don't see any questions right now, Michele, but feel free to type in the chat box if something comes up.
All right. Hey, do you want to pick up?
So when to consider any of this mobility assistive equipment, and what Michelle was saying is so true. These are just tools in your toolbox to keep you mobile and independent. One of the analogies I use, I drove my car most of the day because the distances to actually do work are too great to actually walk or ride a bike. But when we were young, we had a bicycle to get around town, and then we got our car to move around. These things are just items that make your life easier to do the things like Michelle said that you want to do or need to do. Just tools in your toolbox. So when you're having difficulty walking, or if it's you can't do it at all, it takes too long. One of the things is that if somebody rings the doorbell, does it take 2 or 3 times for the doorbell to ring for you to get up and get to the door? Those are the times you can consider talking to your doctor about getting something through health insurance. And is it preventing you from getting to the bathroom on time, getting a meal prepared, getting from the bedroom to the front room, things of that nature. Sorry.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Does either the transport wheelchair or the manual wheelchair come with a seat belt or a restraint belt?
Yes, you could have it on either one or have it omitted on either one. They both can have a seat belt.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
And looks like we have another question in the chat box. Can you talk a little bit about battery life on the complex wheelchairs? Renee's asking.
Yeah, sure. So you should be able to use it all day long, and that means up to 20 miles on a single charge. Just remember, if you decide to go out 15 miles, you only have 5 miles to get back home. So it's a complete day's worth of battery charge, and that includes operating the powered seating as well. So we suggest you charge the chair every single night, just so you're in the habit of it. It won't hurt the batteries to do that. And then that way, if you happen to forget one evening to charge it, it's not a big deal because you've got a fair amount of charge left. Technically, you can usually get by charging it every third day. But if you get in the habit of every night, then you know it's good to go the next day for a full day outing, or even if something comes up unexpected. So basically 20 miles on a single charge. I think the next
Any
screen is
other
insurance.
questions?
Looks like we have one more comment. Dana said, I need to get attachment arms for ventilator circuit support. Yeah, he's having a hard time getting durable medical equipment to support on that.
For the ventilator?
Ventilator circuits, yeah.
So if I'm understanding correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, for the power wheelchair, there's different ways you can mount your BiPAP or your ventilator.
No, what it is they will not, the DME for the wheelchair will not help me get the supply or the things I need to attach my circuit and stuff. So I don't have any way, and they refuse to fix my wheelchair to what I need. They'll come and do one thing, and that's done. And it's like my wheelchair won't keep time, and they've replaced the joystick and stuff, but they've never come back and helped me with my dinner tray or anything. But I have a ventilator now for my wheelchair, and they say, oh, it's just got to hang on the hooks. But still, I need strain relief for the ventilator tubes so they don't pull my head off or drag or get caught.
See, they like ties and stuff to hold the tubing up.
The articulated arms, like you have the sipping puff and thing. Well, I need strain relief that attached to the wheelchair, and they won't provide me with any information. They just tell me to go online and look, and I don't know where to look.
Yeah, of course. Some of that stuff, the tubing can come from the auction company.
No, I'm not talking about tubing. I'm talking about holding the attachment to hold the tubing in place on the wheelchair that you have to attach to the wheelchair.
Yeah, they make a specific one that you and I can maybe converse about it specifically. We can share my email at the end, and we can really look into it and dive it in with you to find out. It's hard to know exactly which tubing support you would need, or if there's a different kind of tubing that could just be connected that is already kind of more stable for you.
Ryan and Numotion and Hunter with Permabuild, they're worthless to me.
Well, Dana, we're going to go ahead and connect you to Rich after the group, and he can help you do some problem solving, okay?
All right, thank you.
We did help out for sure.
Yeah, we'll help you out.
Lauren's typing in my email right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have more questions here, but do we want to wait to the very end? Because I think you guys have a few more slides. Is that right?
Just really, it's one more slide on the
Insurance.
funding on insurance, so we
Okay,
can.
great. And we'll get to those questions.
Okay,
Thanks.
and I just put Rich's email in the chat for everyone. Okay, so you wanted what are we gonna do?
Is the insurance the next slide?
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yep, here we go.
Okay, so these complex power wheelchairs can be upwards of $20,000. So that's why we suggest that that's when we really start looking at your health insurance. So I said, technically they'll pay for some of these other items as you go through, but the timing for all the approvals can be longer than we would like. So it takes at least 2 months start to finish to get you a complex power wheelchair. And sometimes it takes that long just to get you a walker. So if you can get those less expensive items in another manner as soon as you need them, then when you start having some mobility limitations where the more expensive piece of equipment comes into play, that's when we can really access your Medicare and or private insurance. Some people think you have to wait to get on Medicare before you get one of these power chairs, and you don't necessarily have to do that. Medicare is a great coverage for it. It covers 80%, and if you have a supplemental, they'll pay the other 20%. Some private insurances, depending on what your plan is, although there's less of them now, some of them will pay up to 100%, especially if you've already met your deductible for the year. So you don't absolutely have to wait until you're on Medicare, but it is Medicare is an easy insurance to work with. Let's put it that way. And then the other reason why you want to wait for your complex power wheelchair to your insurance is they'll buy a power chair every 5 years. Your insurance expects that power chair to adapt to your needs and your diagnosis. So if you get a basic power chair that doesn't adapt, you very well may be stuck with that through your health insurance, since they have that rule of every 5 years. Couple steps to get it. You may have heard about a face-to-face with your physician. So you have to see your physician, and the physician has to basically prescribe that you need the power wheelchair. And most insurances require that you need the power wheelchair for in-home use first, and then you can use it wherever you want to. But if you, so the face-to-face with the physician indicates that you need the power wheelchair to complete an activity in your home, getting to the bathroom, making a meal, getting to and from the bedroom. In addition to that, you have to have a physical therapy assessment or an occupational therapy assessment. We can help coordinate that after we get the referral from the doctor, or if you're going to one of the major clinics, they already have physical therapists there. They can help do that full assessment along with the ATP that you're working with or the company you're working with. All three are required: doctor, therapist, ATP. All that documentation gets sent to your insurance, and then they review it and hopefully give us an authorization the first time through. That first part takes about a month, and then I think the next page goes through the process.
Yeah, sure does.
So you do the evaluation. That could be considered probably with the doctor. Medical documentation is with the physician and the therapist and the ATP. Submit to insurance for funding. Once we have approval, that chair still needs to be built by the manufacturer to our specifications, and then it gets trucked out to us. That's the last 3 to 4 weeks of the process. And then we deliver it to your home or wherever you are at, and we fit it and do training for you. I just didn't know what time we got here.
We're at 12:30, 12:32. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we're good. The time. I'll stop sharing so you can see better there, and then.
That's kind of why I rushed through that last part, because I didn't know what time it was.
Oh, gotcha.
Maybe running that.
Good.
So we have some good questions in the chat box. Was there more, Rich and Michele, you wanted to share before we go to the chat box?
No, I think we're good. I know there's people that are I think the gentleman was asking about the bracket for the cables and cord. I know it sounds like you may live in Grand Junction or out in the Western Slope. And some of you may even be in Utah, right, Mary? We have people possibly from Utah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, put me on screen. Oh, okay.
Michelle's shy.
I'm shy. All right. Okay. I gotta fix myself. No, but we do have resources out there, but Rich and I are a great connection for you. and for ALSU. So if you have, if you have issues or concerns, or you'd like us to help jump in to assist and get you connected and get on the right track, we're happy to do that. Just wanted to share that as well.
Thank you, Michele. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Dan Wilson has a question. Does the four-wheel roller, the four-wheel walker, fold up and you can put it in a car?
It does. It folds up kind of halfway. The push handles still stick out, so the push handles don't fold down, but it does fold kind of in half. Yes.
Yep, yep. And can the chair be operated, I'm assuming the big complex chair, can that be operated manually in an emergency?
It sure can. They all have motor releases, and you can maybe see the very top of it here. Right down here, this little yellow lever. You just push down on that one, and then you have one on the corresponding side, and then the chair's in freewheel. I'm just moving it with my hands. This brings up a good point that I didn't cover, is these are heavy chairs. On level ground, it's pretty easy to push. Change of direction is a little harder because you get the 6 wheels on the ground, but they can weigh upwards of 400 pounds just for the chair itself. Batteries, motors, all the actuators that do all those seat functions. So yes, it's an emergency release, but you probably wouldn't want to have to push it too far. At some point, if you move into specialty controls, I'll just jump in here real quick. If you're not driving with the joystick at some point, and you're doing some other way to drive the chair, we can usually relocate this joystick to the back of the chair for an attendant drive, or some of the chairs come with an attendant drive themselves. Well, I just turned the chair off. Quick cycle. So that's something you can ask your ATP of. There's different brands, and different brands offer different things. No matter what, at some point, if you need an attendant control, you can have an attendant control. Some come with it, some we have to fund after the fact.
Great. And then Frank Ping, he says, I really appreciate ALS United Rocky Mountain loaning me a power wheelchair. I feel like I can get out without bothering someone to help me. And that's what these chairs are all about, to keep you independent. Thank you for that shout out, Frank. I'm glad it's working for you, and you have a newfound sense of independence with it, right? I see some thumbs up there. Great. Thank you.
That is a wonderful resource, very unique. And we do house a lot of the equipment here, and some of it is over at the Broomfield office with ALSU, but the big stuff is here, and we're happy to help support. And it's definitely a wonderful resource through ALS United.
Thank you. We appreciate you housing all that big equipment for us. So thank you. And then, of course, go ahead, Rich.
I was just going to say, if you're not particularly ready to go through your health insurance, you can always make a request to Mary or Lauren about a loaner power chair. I'll measure you, we'll fit the chair to you as a loaner. And sometimes you need it outside of the home before your health insurance will pay for it. And that's a really good tool to access is the ALS United loaner fleet. So that you can kind of bridge that gap before your insurance pays for it, or you can get through that whole process, or just during the time it takes to fund the chair. 2 to 3 months doesn't sound long to us because we've been doing it for 30 years, but 2 to 3 months is a long time to wait for something to be independent and mobile. So even if it's just bridge the gap, it's a great resource. Yeah,
absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about repairs of the complex chairs?
Sure. If your health insurance buys the chair for you, it's pretty easy to get it funded for repairs. Most things generally are wear and tear, so the material might wear out and that can be replaced. So direct replacement parts go through a service department. And generally, you don't have to do as much documentation for those replacement parts because the insurance is already paid for. So those repairs can happen more quickly. So if your headrest gets damaged, or we don't want to have it damaged, but worn out, it can be replaced. Back upholstery, batteries, tires, things of that nature. When you need something new, a change in your condition, we do have to have at least another physical therapist and an ATP evaluation. You don't necessarily have to see your doctor again. So if you, let's say you need a different shaped knob because your fingers have lost some dexterity, they make adaptive joystick control knobs that can be put on here, but we have to have a physical therapist say why you need it for your insurance to pay for it. It's usually quicker than the 2 to 3 months because we're not waiting for production of a chair, but we do need a physical therapist and an ATP to write up any changes. So I just want to make that differentiation. Repairs, pretty easy to go through your health insurance, get them done as they're needed. Modifications, we'll work with you and the therapist to get that evaluation done to get done as fast as possible.
And then can you speak to the warranty on the chair, Rich?
Warranty, oh, I'll have to remember all those.
Oh, maybe that's the time frame.
So the power wheelchair base is a lifetime. So the structure of the chair is a lifetime warranty. The electronics and the motors are generally 2 years. So if something happens to the electronics or the motors, it's a manufacturer's defect. It's covered by the manufacturer at no charge under manufacturer warranty. Your seat cushion, your back cushion, because they're soft goods, are usually about 6 months to a year of warranty for wear and tear or defect. Your health insurance, so the power chairs get replaced every 5 years. That's why you want one that's pretty adaptive. But seat cushions can be replaced as your needs change. So your seat cushion, your back, your headrest, all of that, you don't have to wait 5 years. So you don't have to think that far in the future. As your needs change, these backrests can be adapted and changed. You can get a different cushion. You can start with a gel cushion, then you can go to an air cushion. You can start with a standard pad, and in the future, if you need more arm support, they make a contoured arm support. All that takes place as your needs change, kind of in the moment.
Just one other thing too, just to share, if you are working with Numotion, we do have what's called a remote tech that can link up with you in the in the evening. Actually, anytime you call repair, they're going to do a remote tech eval, which would have if you have a smartphone. If you don't, then we'll have to do an in-person to start with, but they'll usually start with your smartphone. They'll send you a link with where you can do like a HIPAA protected video call with them, and you can show them what's happening, or your caregiver or spouse, family member could help with that, and they can just show, oh, the tires are worn, or this isn't working. Oh, I can see that your cable is not plugged in properly. Let me show you how to do that. So they can help take care of an issue like immediately sometimes. They can also start an order for you. And now they're available also into the evening. They go to 8 o'clock Mountain Time during the weekdays, and then on the weekends, I believe they go till 5 o'clock Mountain Time on the weekends. So there is technical support after hours.
Wonderful, wonderful. Are there any other questions? If you do, if questions do come up, feel free to reach out to me, Mary, or Lauren. We can certainly help answer any questions you might have about mobility devices. If we don't have an answer, we know where to go. Rich and Michele, the experts, so we will get answers for you. And Rich and Michele, I just really want to thank you for taking the time today to share with our folks, the benefits of using mobility devices, starting out with canes. and then adding, you know, a rollator, a walker to that, and maybe a scooter, a smaller wheelchair, bigger wheelchair. There's a lot that goes into it. And just because one thing I have people concerned about a lot is when we're talking about a wheelchair like this, people think they have to give up walking. That's not the case. You can choose when, if you can still walk, you can choose when you want to use one of these devices. So it's kind of a pick and choose depending on what you're doing. So we just want to let you know that
And
it's not an all or nothing.
yeah, conserving your energy too. Like,
Oh, well, yeah, we can go into a whole nother presentation on conserving energy. And this
yeah,
is one way, folks, that you can conserve your energy. And as Frank said, he can go do things without somebody having to push him in a manual wheelchair. He can go outside on his own. He can do those things. And there's a real freedom in being able to do things yourself. So that's what this equipment offers. All right. Well, I want to thank you all again for being here, and please reach out if you have any questions. And again, thank you, Rich and Michele.
yeah, thank you. We appreciate being able.
Email me too if you have a direct, equipment question.
Yeah.
Or an insurance question.
Perfect. And we've got your email in there. Great. Thank you.
All right, bye everybody.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.